Okay. Yeah. So yeah, my name is Zach. I work on Eleventy. I am also employed by FontAwesome to work on Eleventy. Yeah, it's been great. I've been there 6 months now. And yeah, just again, thank you to David for that amazing analytics talk. Privacy-focused analytics is a very important thing. And it's becoming increasingly important for unfortunate reasons. But we don't need to go into that right now. This is my professional timeline. I used to work for a railroad company a long, long time ago, and then I worked for Filament Group, and they were really big in the jQuery community, and then Netlify, and then CloudCannon, and then Eleventy, and now FontAwesome. Yeah, so 6 months at FontAwesome. It's been great. So I'm the maintainer of Eleventy. And just before I get into the slides today, I just wanted to shout out, we have not yet celebrated this milestone of 11 million NPM downloads. We hit it a couple weeks back. I haven't really publicized it anywhere yet, but we definitely need to celebrate that somewhere before we get to 12 million, because 11 is a magical 11D number. So yeah, this is a big deal, and I'm just continue to be incredibly blown away by folks using it and promoting it, and just thanks to everybody for attending the meetup today as well. All right, so the project that I've been working on recently is getting the FontAwesome blog, which is called Blog Awesome, off of WordPress. And if you go to WordPress right now, this is a screenshot of their homepage, hassle-free WordPress. I think some folks in the WordPress community have been feeling a little bit of hassle coming from the ecosystem. And so we're trying to provide a nice alternative to that. And yeah, I really think that Eleventy can be a lot less hassleful, more hassle-free than the WordPress ecosystem. So that's what we're doing on the Blog Awesome project. And I'll sort of go through the different steps that I did to convert the project. So this is what it looks like today. This is the production site. It's still on WordPress right now. We haven't yet shipped it. It's imminently shipping. It's soon to come, but this is what the new version looks like. Very similar, not pixel perfect accurate to the previous version, but yeah, it's a pretty good conversion from the old to the new in terms of the design, and the functionality is basically identical. So there's a couple different steps I went through to convert this project out, and escape from WordPress, if you will. And the first one is import. So I do have sort of a history of escaping online ecosystems that turn problematic. In 2019, I wrote a blog post about how to export your Twitter archive to your own website and host your own tweets on your own website. And then a few years later, Nicholas Hoisey convinced me to open source it as the Tweet project. And Nicholas has been helping maintain that as well. So that's great if you're looking for a way to self-host your Twitter archive. You should check that project out. Mine's currently online right now. You can go check it out. It's a 46,000 page Eleventy site. And some of the lessons I learned from working on that project specifically was we basically took this giant zip file of tweet text and converted it into an SQLite database, and then generated an Eleventy site from that. And that became a little bit ergonomically problematic if you wanted to, heaven forbid, edit a tweet's contents before you put it online, a feature that was missing from Twitter for a very long time. And so you had to go in and like edit the SQLite database, and it was a little bit unwieldy. And I felt like it would have been a little bit easier if all of the individual tweets were individual markdown files in the project's repository instead of a single SQLite database file. And so I sort of approached this new WordPress escape project with some of the same mindset, and I created a CLI, which is not specific to WordPress. You can use it with a bunch of different data sources, to basically create flat files, create files in your local project's file system as an export of content that exists on the web. And so this project is available today. You can go out and check it out. You can try it out. It's the Eleventy import project. It's on GitHub right now. And some of the code was actually borrowed from a previous Eleventy project called Activity Feed. So Activity Feed is currently used on the Eleventy documentation for our Firehose page, which is sort of an aggregator of Mastodon posts, Blue Sky posts, YouTube videos, GitHub releases, blog posts, and quick tips, all as one centralized feed that folks can subscribe to. So we're taking all of these different data sources from a bunch of different places and aggregating them to a single RSS or Atom feed. I don't remember which it is off the top of my head. But yeah, so you can subscribe to that and get sort of very low-level access to all of the different updates in the Eleventy ecosystem. So I took some of that code and modified it to use in this new Eleventy import. And now they're both sort of using this, even Activity Feed is using import as a dependency. So all the code is connected in a certain way, but there's a bunch of different ways you can use it. You can import an Atom feed. You can import an RSS feed. You can import a Blue Sky list of user posts. You can import a Fediverse username. Actually, I think I forgot the @name on that example, but it should be @named@example.com. You can import YouTube from a YouTube user ID, all the latest videos. But the one we're kind of going to talk about today is that you can import from the WordPress API. And you just point it to the homepage of your WordPress blog. And to be fair, this is actually a really healthy sign of a good and open ecosystem, is that WordPress does have a great API system, and they really allow easy access to your content so that you can export it, so that you can have access to it in other ecosystems. So this is really a shout out to WordPress for having these options available to other tools as well. Now, the great thing about this import tool is that it can make all of your content get versioned. So flat files in your project are subject to the same version control that you use on the rest of your project, which was not true of the SQLite data from the Twitter tweetback project from before. And it's non-destructive. So if a file already exists and it's already been exported, by default, we do not overwrite that file with new changes. So if you want to make edits to your existing content, say, for example, I run the import tool, it generates a bunch of blog posts. I want to edit them in my local project and not receive any updates or overwrites from WordPress if someone goes in and edits those later. If you don't want to overwrite your existing files, it does not do that unless you tell it to. All the content can be sanitized if you have Markdown. So there's a turndown package that folks can use to convert HTML into Markdown. And this really served as a way to clean up some of the content as well. Another nice thing that this import tool does is when it finds a code block, so we have some code blocks on the syntax highlighted code blocks on the existing blog awesome WordPress instance. When it finds one of those code blocks, we actually clean it up using Prettier. So it's not just that we are importing the text as code, we're also sort of cleaning it up and reformatting it using Prettier as well. So it's really made our code samples a little nicer too in the process. It can also import drafts from WordPress specifically. So if you provide authentication credentials to the WordPress API, you can get access to private drafts before they've been published. And we sort of use this overwrite allow CLI command on Eleventy import to allow the drafts to overwrite separately from the other overwrite rules that you may have established. So if a blog post is unpublished, then we want to overwrite every time. And this allows you to continue to use the CMS if you want to do that. And yeah, just keep importing the content on every build. The other nice thing is that it's resumable. So we use Eleventy's fetch plugin or utility to do all of the remote API calls. So if you cancel the import right in the middle, it will reuse any existing cache that doesn't hit the API over and over and over again. And that's pretty nice. By default, we have a cache duration of 24 hours. You can set it to whatever you want. But yeah, you can stop it right in the middle and it will reuse all those remote fetches that it's already done if you start it back up. Which is also good because, just as an example, when I ran this yesterday with a clean instance on the Blog Awesome project, it took about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. So it was fairly extensive. I mean, we have blog posts going on that website back to, I think, 2016. So there's quite a few different pages. You can see it wrote almost 200 blog posts and downloaded 900 assets. So it does download your assets as well. But you can replay it over and over and over again. And it will, again, reuse that existing cache. So when the cache is warm, it only takes about 1 second, 1.5 seconds. So much quicker. So you go from cold cache requests to warm cache requests, and it's quite speedy. You can also limit it to the most recent number of a recent time span. So just as an example, on the project right now, we limit updates just for the last 60 days. So again, that can shorten your execution time as well, which is great. The other thing that Eleventy import does nicely is that it will save and collocate your assets. So any picture, images, source sets, videos, style sheets via the link at element, script, remote scripts, or subtitles from track, those will get downloaded as well and stored right alongside the blog post content. And there's a couple of different options that we provide to do that. I think there's 3 different mechanisms, so you can sort of customize that how you want it to be. We have a relative one, a collocate one, and then an absolute path one. So depending on where you want those assets to be stored, we have a couple of different options for you as well. And we actually do go through and try and find the largest image from image source set and picture source set. So there's already image optimization built into this project. So we're trying to find the biggest image source to optimize from as well. And there is also an experimental feature of Eleventy import that allows you to persist your content back to Git automatically. So if you feed it a GitHub organization name and a repo name and provide it a GitHub token, it will check your new content in back to your repository for you. So you don't have to run this locally. You can run it on your build server, and it will put any new content it finds into your repository, which is great. So we have this Eleventy importer CLI, and that's working great. I wanted to, just as a very quick example, feed the blog awesome content into the Eleventy base blog. And this is how I started the project. I started with Eleventy base blog. It's just the sort of the sample starter project that we encourage most folks that are just learning Eleventy to start with. And this is what it looks like visually. And here's what it looked like after I ran the import script and pointed at the WordPress API for Blog Awesome. You can sort of see there's 143 blog posts that show up down there. It's the same visuals. There's really no difference. And this is the baseline from which the new Blog Awesome project was started. So you could run all of this the same as I did. There's not really much difference between so all of this code is open source, and you could actually point it at the Blog Awesome site WordPress API today. All of that content is open and public. So you could reproduce this same exact step using the Eleventy base blog and the importer script. And if you want to watch a YouTube video about that, I put out a quick, just I think a 3-minute video about using Eleventy base blog and the importer script. And you can sort of see a little bit more in a live way how it works. But here's an example of the markdown files that it creates. And this one has a bunch of extra metadata associated with it, but it imports the title of the blog post, any authors. Now, notably, WordPress does not support multiple authors, but I thought it was important to set up the importer script to allow that from other tools as well. So it exports an array of authors. It sets up the publish date. It sets up the featured image. So it actually downloaded the featured image. If you look in metadata and then media and then featured image, it shows you the local file name that it imported. It shows you where it came from. So the WordPress API, the production URL that it was imported from, and then like a UUID so that we don't. So it allows us a little bit more insight into deduplicated code that might have a URL changed later. So I've imported all of the information into, or excuse me, the content of Blog Awesome into the Eleventy base blog, and this is what it looks like on the left, an individual blog post. So the right is the existing blog post, and the left is just the very basic featured image up top. It downloaded it locally, and this is just a blog post view. So we've gotten all the content exported from WordPress. The next thing I wanted to do was work on some automated colors. So just as an example, on the right side, you can see the design treatment of the featured image up top. We sort of have this full width image background color that stretches all the way to the top of the header as well. It is an image content. It's not, it's a specific background color that's set. And previously we did that as part of the editing process. So we would set a theme color and a theme foreground and background color to use on the full width header. But I thought we could do a little bit better. So just as an example, here's that same blog post in our Blog Awesome project, our Eleventy base blog here, and I've released an image color plugin or utility, excuse me, that allows you to extract colors from images. And I use that to implement this feature. So here's what the plugin code looks like. There's not much to it. It just says I get image colors, export, and you can use that in a filter. And here's what it looks like in the project. We just feed that featured image, that local featured image, right into get image colors. And yeah, we get a list of colors back from that. And then, so you can see the left is sort of the finished product when it comes to the design of that. So we use that extracted background color as a mechanism to set the full width color of the background, and also to establish a bit better color contrast when it comes to the flag and the header text. You can sort of see that the menu on the right side and the search bar are not up to par when it comes to color contrast. So we have a little bit better default color contrast when it comes to those automated images. So yeah, that's great. It looks a little bit nicer. It adapts to your featured images automatically, so you don't have to set those colors manually. And here's a couple more examples in the new project. So yeah, it's this navy background color, and this one was dark enough that we used the light color scheme for the header. Here's another one. And then we also have some heuristics in place that try to decide if it is a full width image or not. So you can see that this one is not a full width header. So this is the default treatment when the aspect ratio of the image is more square. Sort of opt into this design treatment. And yeah, we don't use the full width header on those. We also have an escape hatch in front matter that lets you do that as well. So I've used this image color utility in a couple of different places. on my personal website, I've added it to, I sort of have this browser window, browser Chrome-like web component, and I use it to set the theme color of these based on the color extracted from the favicon of the website that it's pointing at. So we take the screenshot of the website, we get the favicon of the website, and then it sets this orange sort of background color on the theme of these as well. And I've also added this to the Eleventy documentation, and I added it everywhere basically because I was having some kind of gnarly bugs with this plugin that I was trying to debug in as many different projects as I could, and I finally did figure it out. So now it's everywhere. But yeah, we use this to set sort of the border color on these screenshots on the built with Eleventy section on the website. So you can kind of see it's a similar approach. Oh, a nice zoom here. So Font Awesome is also sort of known for being experts on icons. So I wanted to have a good icon experience on the website as well. So I actually have an Alfred. I use Alfred on my website. It's like a little local utility to let you do autocomplete on things. And I set one up to search for any icon on the Font Awesome icon database. So I can just bring up Alfred and type icon and type any icon search, and it will take me right to the Font Awesome website. And I can copy the HTML markup right from the Font Awesome website and put it into the project. So in this case, the toilet paper icon here, and it doesn't matter how many times I add it, because the Eleventy plugin that I developed as part of this project will duplicate those and create an SVG sprite sheet for it as well. So we have sort of 6 different instances of this toilet paper icon, and the new Eleventy Font Awesome plugin will duplicate those and create a single reference to that to the SVG source. So there's no JavaScript, there's no CSS bundles. You can use Font Awesome icons strictly with SVG only. And anyone can use this today as well. So it works with the free tier of Font Awesome. You can add your own pro icons to this as well if you are a pro subscriber. And it also pairs nicely with custom icons you may have uploaded into your kits. So if you do have a JavaScript bundle on your Font Awesome instance and you have some custom kit code, you can use those as well, and they'll pair nicely together. Another thing I added to the Blog Awesome project was I have this web component called Snowfall, and it's just basically like snowflakes falling on your web page, and it's kind of fun. WordPress Matt added it to his personal website. If you go out to his personal website today, this is still on his website, which is nice. Makes no mention of me here though, but yeah, someone created a WordPress plugin for this. Thanks, Matt. And they also shipped it to the entire WordPress.org instance over the winter, so I think in December. So yeah, that was an interesting, some nice, interesting overlap with the WordPress ecosystem. But if you go to the new Blog Awesome project and you go to the bottom, there's this little tiny flag next to the Font Awesome logo in the footer. If you click that, we'll actually create a similar experience with Font Awesome icons, and it will reuse the same colors that it extracted from the featured image as well. So yeah, it's a nice little Easter egg. Another thing I wanted to export from this project that you may see in the coming weeks is there was actually a fair bit of work that went into the pagination navigation portion. If you go to the bottom of the homepage, just the numbered links that show up here, just to make it render nicely and have some arrows and also some ellipses if there are too many links. So you may see that come out as an official Eleventy plugin as well. So we have nice icons. We wanted to also preserve the editing experience as well. So as I mentioned, you can still use the WordPress CMS to edit blog posts and add blog posts. So if I go in today and go into the WordPress admin and create a new blog post, it will actually send a webhook to our CI service to generate a new draft. So any drafts that you create, we have a separate staging instance that is locked down. You have to sort of be a member of our Vercel team at Font Awesome to get access to these draft blog posts in the staging instance. But so we have that sort of locked down so people can't see drafts before they get published. But yeah, if you want to test how your WordPress CMS to import will work, you can see that in production as well. Or not production, but in the staging environment. And so yeah, we made use of the WP webhooks plugin to wire that up. So anytime you create or update a post, it will trigger a Vercel build. And this is what the build times look like for the project in production right now. It's about 45, 50 seconds per build, which is pretty good considering it's using the image optimization pipeline with AVIF images on the output. So we are doing all of the image optimization with our runtime piece. And if you want to use the same approach, this might get packaged up in Eleventy image as well, but there is a way to sort of generate images straight to your .cache folder. So they'll be persisted across different builds. This is like super advanced, like, I don't know. I don't know if folks are interested in this, but if you're sort of running into slowdowns with the Eleventy image, I would recommend checking out this issue on the Eleventy image tracker that I'm hoping to package up in a nicer way. But it's pretty simple now, but yeah, it would be nice to just have like a one use property that people could use just to drop it into their project. We also have on-page search using PageFind, which is great. I love PageFind. And you got to look at the performance stats, right? The before and after. We got the 4 hundos here, which is also nice. And that's kind of it. That's I think a lot of open source things came out of this project, and I don't know if folks have been using those, but there's been a lot of improvements to the Eleventy plugins and ecosystems that came out of this blog awesome conversion. And yeah, I've been delighted to work on it and extremely grateful that it has contributed to Eleventy in the way that it has. So that's all I have today. Thanks, everybody.